What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back out of the game, coming at you with another DISLYTE video. And in today's video, we're going to be giving you guys our best holo battle units that you guys can go ahead and utilize as a free-to-play player. And in order to help me out with that today, we got none other than Volkin with Volkin Games. How we doing today, boss?
Thanks for having me, mate. Really appreciate it. Just with this one though, we are doing a lot of speculation. Obviously, we've only had one round of holo battle so far, so you know. It's much more speculation based on, you know, you and your extensive Summoners War experience and my little bit of Summoners War and just deep theory crafting as such.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Like I said, the good thing about this game is coming into a new game, we got a lot of new units to check around. And, you know, to my surprise, there's a fantastic group of free-to-play players, 3 stars and 4 stars alike, that I think are going to be absolutely amazing. So I feel like for the free-to-play community out there, we want to mention it. You know, you don't have to have every single legendary Esper under the sun. There are some units that have a lot of value, and we want to let you guys know about it. Now, again, for those that didn't get a chance to check it out, I encourage you to do so. I will have a link in the description down below on the collaboration we did on Volkin's channel. Again, we had an absolute blast doing his holo battles. We went back and forth and talking about different strategies and whatnot with his particular lineup. Now we're just going to take a look again at the free-to-play units. So before we forget, I want to go ahead and mention when it comes to our list, again, pure speculation, just kind of the things that we've been theory crafting about. In addition to that, you know, these things can change over time as the relics get better and the units improve when it comes to balance patches and whatnot. So again, take it with a grain of salt. We just want to provide our opinions for you guys at the current time. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. We do want to drop some honorable mentions because, again, even though we're going to be focused on a lot of 3-star, 4-star units, there are a couple of free-to-play units that I'm sure you guys already know about, but we want to go ahead and let y'all know. Volkin, you want to start out with the one you want?
Yeah, so obviously we have, like, I want to mention Ling and Tang Yun. Both, if we're early on, you've got them 6-star, they're going to be strong for you. They're both really strong characters. I actually really like, sorry, not Tang Yun, Tang Jeanne, the Wukong, because Wukong actually has a really nice kit for this. If you did pull for the Wukong, with the passive to the basic attack, not the passive, but the basic attack, always hitting 3 targets, bringing that armor break, bringing that heal block. It's actually a really nice kit. I did pull one. I will eventually test that. But those two, obviously, if they're 6-star, they're your damage dealers. They're going to be valuable for you in the early rounds until you build a bunch more 6-stars. On top of that, I'll let you go into Gab and Lucas because those are just 2 absolute beast units that everyone would probably have built as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, for those of you guys who've been watching our channels, all the channels out there, not just our 2s, but everyone in the Discord community, without question, this is literally one of the best legendary Espers in the game. We could consider this to be the best legendary free-to-play Esper out there, okay? Everything that provides between the defense buff, the immunity, the multi-hit ability to bring in the defense break is one of the best units out there. She can be combined with so many different combinations of units for the holo battle. I just think that you just can't go wrong with her. Make sure, of course, as you guys have seen probably on Volkin's channel, if you guys are relatively new to the game, this is not something you want to jump into right away. You definitely want to focus some of your future material to invest into some other units here, you know, get their 3rd ascension before you kind of jump into this particular one. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's that one. Like I always say, for farming for her, depending on, unless there's events on, I normally aim to be able to farm level 7 of Sonics before I go ahead and build her.
Yeah. Again, and of course, Lucas. Again, this unit again needs no introduction. Basically the reward that you get for the spatial tower to stage 100. Hopefully, all of you guys have been working on that, trying to clear that out as you progress in the game. I mean, what can we say that hasn't been said already about this unit on all the channels as well? Stripping ability, control ability, and
yeah, this one ability, like in itself, his 3rd ability is just so huge for holo battle, in my opinion, because like, you know, you're trying to cram a lot of different things into a team of 3 units. And when you can strip and also push back to gain turn advantage in one ability, it's really nice. Obviously, the 2nd skill, having a stun, is good too. But the 1st skill is actually a huge one because if you click on the 1st skill, I believe it's a total, if he steals the gauge all 3 times, it's like a 45% gauge steal because it's 15% 3 times. So that's gaining him that gauge and reducing the enemy's gauge. And if you have him super fast, it means he can go first, strip and push back, but then also keep gaining turn advantage, which he's just an absolute beast for this format.
This one is actually going to be a fantastic unit for my lineup. Again, you guys know I got tired. Actually, we both got tired. So I'm looking to utilize this one first turn, strip the opponents if they do have some kind of immunity or whatnot there. And of course, bring in Tide to pull those attack bars back and just go ham with regards to my other types of units to control here. So Again,
Yeah.
I think
with him and TA, you're pretty set to deny turns for a long time.
right. And again, if you don't have TA, Long Mean, another fantastic unit, but that could be for another video here. So this is what I'm gonna do. Normally, I like to throw my guests under the bus here by letting them start out with it, but I'm going to take the lead on this one, Volkin. I'm going to start out with my first one, just so you can kind of chime in on the end, because you always provide good insight on things that I generally forget here. So one that I know, right? The one that I want to talk about first, I know everyone's going to be surprised about this, is going to be Jeanne, and I think I want to preface this by saying this kind of relates to both Volkin and I when it comes to some of the benefits of the 3-star and 4-star units out there in the game today, outside of just the overall easy ability to go ahead and skill it up here. The cooldowns on some of these units here are really, really nice here. So again, the ability to cycle through those skills, and again, combine them with other units out there to provide some kind of attack bar manipulation, we're going to be getting those up really quick, and we're going to be able to take full advantage of these multiple times in a match here. So Jeanne, take a look at her kit. The things that I like about her is she's an absolute stunning machine. Okay, she got stuns on all 3 abilities here. Some of these abilities are going to be this one here is going to have the ability to go ahead and dispel all buffs and stuff for 1 turn. So considering the fact that she does have a pretty decent base speed here, you can throw a fast set on this one, get the jump on the opponent that potentially might be using some kind of support to provide immunity similar to like a Cheng Pu or Gabrielle, something like that. Stun them, lock them down, and then again, be able to go ham with the rest of your units out here. And if you got an opportunity to, again, get a couple of stuns between skill 1, skill 2. And you also got that attack bar absorption again on this one. In addition to that, they also have this one here is something you don't see all too often. The activation rate on the stun, 100% chance of inflicting a stun for 1 turn. And this one, again, random enemies as well. So multiple opportunities to stun opponents between all 3 skills. But again, without question, this one just controls the playing field.
Yeah, and I think she's got a lot of cool team compositions that you can try and play with her. I haven't actually built her myself, just because we do get, like, for the rest of the content in the game, just because we do get things like Lucas, I just haven't brought myself to it. But she's one that I would build more specifically for Holo Battle, because you got 3 enemies. That second skill always hits 3 different enemies. Like sometimes, when you do those 3 attacks, sometimes they can land on the same enemy, but those ones all hit a different enemy. So you're guaranteed to have 100% activation on stunning all 3 enemies. Then it goes to accuracy resistance check. That's powerful. On top of that, the third skill, the strip into the stun, is really nice. If you bring her into a team, say you have a gauge booster, like Dahlia. Dahlia is another fantastic unit, obviously, for free-to-play players. But if you have, say, a Dahlia leading into her or another gauge booster, it gives you options. If the enemy team doesn't have immunity, you can go straight to skill 2 and try and stun all 3 of them. If they do have immunity, you can use that skill 3 and lock out the biggest threat on the team so that you can cycle through, let them waste their immunity, and then stun them all on the next turn. And the other thing with that second skill is like the AP stealing as well, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown, is quite nice. Because what does it steal? Like 30%?
30%.
Of absorbs 30% of AP, which is huge. That's like a massive increase on top of stunning them all, and then only having a 3-turn cooldown.
Right. I mean,
that's a crazy ability.
If you land it all, right? I mean, of course, it won't happen all the time, but if you land it all, it's almost like you're getting a free turn there,
Yes. 100%. Yeah. I think she's a great one. I'm definitely going to test her out once on one of my accounts. I think I'll just leave her at 5-star and use her as a supportive control, and then try and bring another damage dealer in the team that I use her in. But I think she's amazing for it.
Yep, definitely here. And moving on to my second pick here, Unky Chai, which is a fun one here that I always laugh at because, me being a bodybuilder and everything like that, seeing him flex and whatnot, I mean, we just had to put him on the list, right? But
Unky Chai's the man. I love Unky Chai since I started using him.
Yeah, he's super fun. So if you guys haven't had a chance to check him out here, the passive that he brings is pretty sick. Ties that bind, provides the crit rate up and attack buff up to 2 random allies at the start of each turn. But of course, if you get the attack buff up already up on him, you're going to be able to reduce the ability cooldowns by 1 turn. Okay, so obviously with this unit having the ability to provide the attack buff up, this is going to be really, really nice. Again, also having an ability cooldown reduction on this one to essentially almost keep these 2 buffs alive. So first go here, we got a little bit of attack bar absorption, but I think what I was trying to get at with this particular unit is I feel like he provides so much value, and not just another unit that you want to combine with him to provide a little bit of damage, but also the support, because there's a lot of supports out there in the game today that do scale off of attack. So having almost a consistent attack buff up to provide a little bit more bonus on that is great. And of course, without question, attack buff is going to be really, really good to provide just more damage for your team.
100%. And I think the way you can play this guy is really cool. In that, like, you know, his first turn, if you have him going faster than the rest of your team, like your first turn, you let him do the passive buff, don't use his skill 3. Basic attack, it's going to give him an extra 25% gauge, and he's going to get into his next attack faster. But in between that, your characters, your other units will use their abilities. And then the next turn, you can reapply that attack buff with his skill 3, but it's also going to reduce their cooldowns. So tying this into what we were just talking about with Jeanne, with her second skill, stealing, like the potential to steal 90%, gain a 90% attack gauge because she absorbs 30% from 3 enemies. If you can do it to a point where she uses that, basically gets a free turn, then the next turn, Unky Chai uses his cooldown reduction because she's essentially grabbed a free turn. She's reduced 1 cooldown. Unky Chai reduces another, meaning the next turn she can actually go ahead and use that AoE again and stun the whole team and recycle through. So I just think Unky Chai, and I think he's going to be one of those units that gets better over time as we get more units in the game that have like those good 2 to 3 turn cooldown abilities. There's other units in the game, but like he has so much utility to be able to change them. On top of that, he is bringing the attack buff, but I can also see him being used as a tanky unit in a bruiser team where you have everyone tanky and he's just there basically to reduce cooldowns for that same reason. And the attack buff, you know, adds a little bit to bruisers, but not a hell of a lot. Also, it does provide the crit, so that's also nice for them. So you can have like less requirements on the gearing. But I just think his kit is one of those ones that people are going to find really annoying teams to use him in. And it's going to be once you get locked out in a team against him, you're going to go, oh, that's what Unky Chai does. Yeah,
it's crazy because I'm not going to front right now. When I first looked at this unit, I didn't really think he was all too good, but I didn't understand both the abilities here, you know, being able to reduce cooldowns. I initially thought skill 3 was just another reduce for his party, but it's actually for the teammates. So again, that makes it absolutely disgusting to utilize in combination with literally any unit, right? Anybody can get value out of it. But like you said, you know, the units with the super low cooldowns here, you're just going to be able to cycle those skill 2s and skill 3s so much more. It's going to be great. Next one up that I got, this is my last one, then we'll move on to Volkin's list. Freddy. I want to go ahead and give some love to Freddy because he slapped me in the face in the story mode a few times in Purgatory, and I was like, wow.
I think everyone
got him.
Can I just say, Freddy has got one of the sickest designs I've seen in characters.
Yeah.
Like, I love his design.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast. We always say units are absolute beasts, but he truly is an absolute beast here. If I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, Volkin, I believe he has some of the hardest hitting, you know, skills in the game, especially as a free-to-play, it's like 3-star Esper. It might even be, you know, without question, like out of all the Espers here, I have never seen one yet that provides this kind of damage with these kind of multipliers, and then of course with the skill 1 here, the potential to do even more damage depending on where his HP is at. So this is pretty cool kit overall. Self buffing here, and then the standoff ability to keep him alive if things get a little crazy. I don't know what you think when it comes to like overall relics you want to use, but I was thinking about blessing around with like a Hades set just to, you know, give him an opportunity to kind of keep him alive in solo and maybe play around with other like solo type units out there like Donar or something like that. I don't know.
I think Hades is the one. However, I have also had thoughts about the idea of ocean waves to reduce the cooldowns to get that, but that's way more RNG. And you know, maybe on a defense team, if I was using him, I'd try ocean waves to see what we could do. But in general, I probably wouldn't. I don't think he functions that well on defense because I think he uses skill 3. I'm not 100% certain, but in general, and also since standoff got the buff where you can no longer push back AP on someone with standoff. So he actually got more of a buff through that. And I'm curious to see, as you know, the game develops, like if you come up against enemies without strips, like and it's very common to come up to enemy teams with only 3 characters that don't have a buff removal. You know, you can really make use of this. I'm curious to see if in the future they add characters that, you know, increase buff durations on allies, because then you could do some crazy stuff. But yeah, in general, I think he's going to do some nice damage. He could be one of those really annoying units that if you don't have a counter to him, can really shred. But he's going to be one I'm not going to build for a while because obviously I built Drew on my free-to-play account to use for progression. So I don't really want to go through and build another single target damage dealer for the Inferno class just yet.
Right. All right. Sounds good. And again, we were talking about the Hades. I think Sword Avatar, without question here, having the counterattack ability to do some additional damage here is going to be good. It's going to be good with this one. So getting into Drew, since you just recently talked about him again, this is the first unit that everybody gets a chance to see alongside Bryn. And I know a lot of people in the community, as well as yourself, you know, provided a couple of videos out there to say, hey, this, even though it's free to play, this guy is actually really good. So tell me about it.
Yeah, so he's like my go-to progression free-to-play unit. If you pull nothing else, if you're trying to get into Chronos, move on to APEP, he works in both and he's really good. His kit doesn't seem crazy. Like it's a 2-turn cooldown on his second skill with a defense break, which is really huge for like PvE progression. But when we look at using him in HOLOBATTLE, it's really about that skill 3. So the skill 3 is an amazing ability where he's going to deal damage to a single target. If he kills them, he's going to go and attack another unit, but it's going to ignore defense. And then if he kills them again, he's going to attack another unit. At max, he can attack 3. Now, I've done a lot of testing with him. There are some units that really you can't really counter with Drew. It's a bit frustrating. Things like Hades or Hyde, if you like. If you kill a Hyde, he'll just like double attack on the Hyde and do nothing because Hyde has his own like revive thing. So anything with like a revive mechanic built in, he like just bugs out and will only do one attack, won't go on to attack another one. The 5-star Shimmer that has her self revive, he'll do the same to her. There's a few units where he just bugs out on. Besides that, it's amazing. You can bring like my strategy with him on my free to play account is I bring an attack buffer and I bring someone else that can do a decent little bit of damage so I can weaken one enemy. And then once that one enemy is weakened, you just basically kill them and then just clean up the rest. So normally I use like Dahlia plus, I can't remember, I think I was using Tang Yun even to just weaken an enemy. And then I just clean up with Drew and he just cycles through them. Now he's not going to be as good against HP stacking units because that damage is going to be as high. But if you come up against like a Thor or something like that, who's a heavy defense-based damage dealer, if you can weaken one of the other members of the team and then get him to use that additional attack on the Thor, you can just clean that Thor up. So I really like Drew. He's one that, a lot of free-to-play players, if you didn't have other options, have already built. And, he's really catered towards this format.
Yeah, really nothing else to add. You literally nailed it on the head here. What do you got here for your second pick?
I wanted to look at Fabrice. If we go up, you were with me. He's 4-star. Yeah, up a bit higher.
Let's see where
up a bit higher. There he is on the left. Yeah. So Fabrice is a big one for me. I have a real cheesy team where like I have like basically a full team invincibility. Where I use Ollie, which obviously is a luxury unit with him, and also I use Chloe. And the idea behind that is I can buff Chloe with invincibility at the start, and then she can extend the duration of her buffs, meaning she stays invincible after her attack. Then I can use my skill 3 on Ollie, which is going to give him invincibility. And then if they try and kill Fabrice, Ollie will stop his death and give him invincibility. So I've got a real cheesy team that I love with him. But I think in general for anyone, if you just make a really fast Fabrice and you outspeed the enemy team, you can buff a unit that does really, really heavy single target damage. So one that I think a lot of people might get use out of is Tang Yun. Tang Yun has a really strong third skill and second skill, which the second skill can ignore defense. So things like Thor and stuff, you can really punch through them. So I think using him just to buff full gauge and attack buff on a big damage dealer can be really, really helpful. Now, it's not going to be as good against enemy teams that are tanky. It's more of a outspeed and kill squishies because obviously, you're not going to have the defense break on the enemies if you're just buffing one ally. But like I said, if the enemy team doesn't have any strippers, you can always go that route of putting the invincibility and immunity on, waiting for turn 2, letting the other unit that you bring get defense breaks or something like that, and then move on. I just think he's a really powerful unit. And like I said, I've got that really cheesy team that I love with him.
Yeah, no, I like it. And one of the things that I take away from Summoners War as well is a lot of people initially underrated the value of units that provide 100% AP for a specific unit. Really, really strong. Definitely can be combined, in certain ways to provide a whole lot of value. And again, considering all the like different kind of mechanics in the game to produce cooldowns and just cycle abilities between the AP reduction and whatnot, I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great unit to mess around with. And again, most people just think, oh, it's just a Gabby fusion material. Like, no, I would definitely make another copy of this, invest into it and incorporate it into your lineup here.
I still haven't built him on my free-to-play account because I did 50 summons and couldn't get another Bernice copy to do the fusion.
I remember that.
Still haven't got him built.
You lost it on your video. You were just like, I cannot believe it. Like, I just want to get one. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
that sucked. But the next one that I wanted to look at was Tang Yun. I've just mentioned him a couple times,
Right.
so I thought let's just go into Tang Yun and have
Yeah.
a look. Now he's one that I built for Fafnir, so on my free to play account, I also have him 6-starred. So he's got the stats being 6-star. So
Yep.
instantly, I want to try and make use of that. But like I said, his second and third skill have just really high damage. And the fact that he can proc pursuits, ideally, I'd like him on Sword Avatar so he can like revenge, pursuit, and then like stun. So basically, the way the skill 3 works, he attacks 3 times. If he gets a crit, he will use his skill 1 on the enemy, and every time he uses the skill 1, he has a 30% chance to use the skill 1 again, and the skill 1 has a stun. And I think single target stuns in CC are really valuable in this format because you only got 3 enemies, so you're really locking out 33% of their team when you stun 1 unit. But they just both do massive damage, and like I mentioned before, that skill 2, the skill 2 having ignore defense on it, could like, and as we get more defense-based damage dealers, at the moment Thor and Renzi are the only real ones, and Renzi's a bit annoying because he has passive standoff. But I feel like I really want to I didn't find any Thors in my first battle, but I really want to try him against a Thor and see if I can just one-shot a Thor, because he does also have elemental advantage over Thor. So I think he's going to be a fantastic counter to that, but also just a great unit to just nuke single enemies, because he just has high damage. And if you get procs, I feel like he's one of those ones I just want to put on my defense team, because I feel like he will enrage some people. If you have him on like Sword Avatar with even a Hades set, so he can self-sustain a little bit, and he keeps revenging and then like proccing pursuits and stunning your whole team, I think he'll just be enraging as a defense unit. So I'm going to try and test him out a bit more.
Yeah, he's gonna be nasty, man. I keep on hearing everybody talk about it. I'm like, oh man, this now, because mine is, I just made mine 6-star right now because I was working on Fafnir as well. So we'll have to see how he does. He's gonna be fun. He's gonna be fun. But again, fam, that is our current list right now of some of the best free to play holo battle units that we're really looking to see get utilized down the road here. Of course, don't forget our honorable mentions as far as the free to play ones that are not 3-star. And we got the Lucas, we got the Gabrielle, we got the Fabrice.
Dahlia,
yeah, I'm missing all fantastic units. They would be a sick clue, but we're looking at the units out there that don't get a lot of love, that are easy to skill up, that have these super low cooldowns that you guys can use and get a lot of value out of. Anything else you wanted to throw in there?
There's one more that I want to throw in there.
Okay.
Good old Fat Gum. Someone referred to him as Fat Gum from My Hero, and I thought it was the best name for him. Now, this is deep theory. I have not tested it. I haven't seen anyone test him. I will build him. I will 6-star him on one of my accounts, and I will test him in Holo Battle. I just really like his kit. Now, his leader skill is useless because it's only in arena, but his skill 3 is a single target attack, and it deals damage based on his HP. And that Devour. Now, someone correct me if I'm wrong here, but I have never seen this Devour miss on an accuracy check. The only time I've seen it not apply is when they've got immunity. I feel like this ability may be just exempt from the accuracy resistance check. I will do a lot more testing on that. But the fact that you can get him in and you can lock out an enemy unit if they're above 50% HP for 2 turns is pretty strong in this type of format. 2 turns is a long time. On top of that, his basic skill does have a taunt as well, which stops them from using abilities and stuff like that. And then his second skill is going to be a strip that also I think heals him as well. So I just think it's a really cool kit to have a 2-turn lockout in this type of format. So it's one that I really want to test. Now, this, like I said, this is very just speculative, wanting to test something, but I just thought it was a fun one that, this unit no one really thinks about except slapping in at level 1 as a speed lead when they got no other speed lead for arena. But I think I could get some fun stuff out of him in the Holo Battle.
Right. And I was taking a look at this Devour early on too as well. Like, if I recall correctly, the skill not being able to be targeted and whatnot, you still can. I don't know if anybody's mentioned whatnot. My concern was like the ability, you can't target it right with a single target cleanse, right? But what about a healer that can provide an AoE cleanse, right? It could essentially be countered by them. But of course, that's few and far between. We're not going to see a lot of those outside of that. But I haven't
even tested that. I'm not sure if it can be cleansed. Yeah. That's a really good one to test.
Yeah,
but yeah, like the non-targeting thing, I don't think they can't be healed when they're in it either. So yeah, it's just a really cool ability. I just think his design is one of the coolest characters in the game. So I want to make him work.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing you mess around with that. Again, if you guys want to see this particular Liao showcase on the channel, you got to go over there, click the link in the description down below. That'll give you the link over to Volkin Games, which of course I'm pretty sure 99.2% of you guys are already subscribed to Volkin as well. Volkin, my man, thank you so much for coming on board, doing this collaboration with me. I'm super excited to see how these holo battles go over the next couple of weeks.
No, thanks for having me, dude. As always, I really appreciate you, everything you've done for me over the years. So always wrapped to come on with you.
Yeah, buddy. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for the video. If you guys like this video, okay, y'all know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys all in the next one. Take care.